OKPA fantasy football community, and welcome to the semifinals. It's week 15 of the NFL season, and that means it's round two of the OKPA fantasy football playoffs. It's your host, Andrew Redden here, along with my co-host, as usual. You know him as the spoiler. The rest of us know him as Chad. Chad, how the hell are you?
Oh, Andy, I'm doing very good this week, my man. I believe you might be as well.
Matter of fact, I'm doing very good as well. Thanks for asking. Yeah, and it feels good. I was just talking with our commission a little bit ago. I can't even explain how just the amount of excitement I got from finally winning a playoff game.
Dude, right there with you. It is a weight lifted off the shoulders.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely felt that it was never going to happen. Here I am, 4 years in, finally winning a playoff game, and man, semifinals feels good.
I see you're struggling to pronounce it. It's been so long since you've been there, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Um, so anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. Let me pull up the bracket. As our viewers can see, you and I are going to face off in the NFC Championship game. And on the AFC side, we have our top seed, Michael Morgan, the only 10-win team, against Papa Hogue, who just beat his son in the quarterfinals. They'll face off there for the AFC Championship. To recap, I guess, a little bit of last week, uh, I beat Derek Morgan 150 to 120. You beat Garmin 129 to 117. Michael Morgan beat Eric Muller 166 to 117. And Papa Hogue beat Brandon Hogue 142 to 120. Any surprises from this past week?
I wouldn't call them surprises. The thing that really stands out to me is how did all the losing teams have basically the same score, like all within 3 points? That is what was weird to me. But the guys that won, I think, we're probably going to win.
Yeah, I actually just noticed that, and that is that is crazy. Actually, I mean, if you look at Demo and Brandon, they were .06 different. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Well, and you got Moeller and Garmin were 0.4 different, which very very weird that's going to fall that way. I guess my surprise, I picked Moeller to beat Morgan. Again, I can't root for Morgan, but I kind of figured he might win, so I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say I'm surprised, but I was pulling for him to get his ass kicked in the first round.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to say that it's surprising that the top seed won, but I mean, the way Mueller played to get into the playoffs, there was definitely the possibility that he could have pulled the upset. Speaking
Yeah,
of upsets,
absolutely.
though, we had nothing. If you were picking, if your Oak Pot Madness bracket had a Cinderella story, sorry, but you're out because we have the top two seeds of both divisions are sitting in the semis now.
Yeah, and shout out to Big Mac for taking zero chances and being pretty much a scared little wuss, and taking the top four seeds and getting all four right. Props to you, my guy.
Yeah, apparently being a scared little wuss sometimes does pay off. Uh, yeah, but as you mentioned, we predicted 3 out of the 4 matchups correctly. The only one we didn't pick was, as we mentioned, Mueller to beat Morgan. Morgan, the top seed, will play in the AFC Championship game. Um, the only note that I have is, I guess, kind of circling off of the matchup we've been talking about is Morgan's team definitely showed up. Just
Yeah.
looking down the players that that he started, he has looks like 5 players that scored over 20 points. I mean, that in itself is going to win you a matchup.
Hell, and two other ones weren't far from it. I mean, J.K. Dobbins with the 17 last night, and you got the Arizona defense who, I mean, you're playing the Giants, and they did exactly what you expect. They put up 18. I mean, that's massive points.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you go to his bench, Kareem Hunt had a 33-point game sitting on his bench. Derek Carr, his backup quarterback, had put up 27 points. I mean, he's got the depth and the starters to definitely be a champion this year. If he can put it together.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He's got a strong team through and through.
Definitely one thing to monitor. We did see Gesicki go down late in that game. Are there any
Yeah,
notes or anything on that? If he'll potentially miss this coming week?
I haven't read yet. I know it didn't look good. That's all I can say. I think he's supposed to play. I'm gonna wait till probably Thursday to make an assessment as to what they say about it, but it didn't look good.
Yeah, definitely didn't look good. And looking at his backups here, and he has Jordan Reed as his backup tight end. I know in this league, being a 16-team league, tight ends are definitely at a premium.
Hmm.
So if Gesicki's not able to go, that'll definitely be a weak spot for him facing Papa Hogan in the semifinals.
Yeah, no doubt.
Um, we'll take a look now at the week 15. It's getting easier and easier to prepare for these shows because we're down to just 4 teams left,
Yep.
two in each division. Um, I'm going to be facing you in the NFC Championship game. Both of us just got our first ever playoff win, and now we're going to face each other for a chance to go to the OKPA Fantasy Football Title match. I'm the 1 seed, you're the 2 seed.
Hmm.
Um, and actually, well, hold on, we'll jump down here to the AFC real quick. Michael Morgan, the 1 seed overall, will face Papa Hogue for the AFC Championship match. Looking at these matchups, they're both rematches of regular season games. Um, I played you very recently, just 2 weeks ago in week 13. I beat you 150 to 106, and actually Morgan and Papa Hogue played in week 9. Morgan just barely squeaking out an 8-point win, 158 to 150.
Yeah. So we're seeing both one seeds beat one both matchups in the regular season. Now, is this going to be revenge time? Are the 2 seeds going to find a way to get to the finals?
Yeah, definitely anything can happen this late in the postseason. Two matchups where the opponents are very evenly matched up, and really anything can happen.
Yeah.
Taking a look at our matchup here, and we'll just dive into it right now, and then we'll discuss what it's going to take to win. Um, Looks like right now you do have an open flex spot. We'll see what happens there. It's kind of hard to look at the lineups on Tuesday because the waivers hit tonight. Who knows what'll
Yep.
happen on the waiver wire? Um, and it looks like your kicker is actually on the COVID list as well.
Yeah, just got put on there literally about 2 hours ago. So
Oh, okay, so the
starting to
chance of
think
him playing
starting
is
to think
probably
very minimal
yeah.
is what I would say. So, and my flex from last week probably popped his hammy, so not looking to play this week. So we got a few things to move around, see what we can work with here for going forward.
Yeah, and I think the big question mark on my squad is uh, Christian McCaffrey's status. Um,
Yeah.
if Mike
Yep.
Davis can play this week, obviously he was a huge contributing factor to my win this past week with a 28-point, 2 touchdown performance. If he doesn't play, we're looking thin at the running back position, especially because it looks like he had a shoulder and did not practice today, or would not have practiced today. If they didn't have the day off, so we could be thin at the running back position depending on how those situations play out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I tell you what, this is gonna be interesting. Injuries could really play a big role into this week.
Yeah, you hate to see it this late in the fantasy playoffs, but definitely injuries could basically decide the outcome of this one. Going down to the AFC matchup, just looking at Yahoo projections right now, and again, I mean, plenty of things can happen in the next several days. Looking at the Yahoo projections, Morgan is projected to beat Papa Hogue by 1.4 points. I mean, you
My
can't you
goodness.
can't really get much closer than that.
No, you got to be sweating if you're both these guys already.
Absolutely. It looks like I know whenever I was watching the Chiefs game, Tyreek Hill did limp off a little bit with a hamstring, um, but he's saying that he was just cramped up, so it looks
Yeah.
like he avoided injury there.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I was hoping he might have tore it a little bit, maybe miss for Morgan and get him out of here. Can't have him winning championships, but it looks like he's going to be all right.
Yeah. Another big question mark. looking at Papa Hoag's team is Drew Brees' status. Do we know anything on Drew Brees?
All I've seen is they're not trying to rush him back, which
Okay.
sounds very much like he's not playing this week.
Okay. So that definitely. Then again, Matt Ryan, his backup, doesn't have a horrible matchup against Tampa, but I mean, he definitely wants the rushing touchdown upside of Taysom Hill in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And another question mark that comes in is one of his best receivers. I'd probably say his hottest receiver right now, in Devontae Parker. You got Justin Jefferson maybe, but Parker going down early last week on the second drive of the game. Uncertain for this week. They don't know if he's going to play. Which now we look into, well, who are you going to put up there, and then who's going to fill? You put Jefferson there. Who do you put in the flex? Because his bench isn't all that deep. I mean, now you're talking his injuries could really affect him too.
Absolutely. And that's, wide receiver is one of those positions that I hate, having to make that pick on because wide receivers are much less touch dependent as running backs are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very hard to choose, a wide receiver 3 who's going to make that 40-yard catch or a couple 20-yard catches, I mean, and that's basically, throwing a dart to say, yeah, I guess this is who I'm going to start.
Yeah, and exactly. I feel that pain all season.
So we'll stay here in the AFC division, and we're going to make some predictions. And a little surprise for our listeners, we have a special guest on our show this week, the commissioner of the OKPA Fantasy Football League, Mr. Brandon Hoag. How are you?
I'm doing pretty fucking bad, to be honest with you.
Oh, and why is that, I must ask?
Well, I don't know. I'm sitting on the shit end of the stick this week, and it's going to be a long off season. I'm just going to say that. But I am happy for the 4 people who made it. I think they're all deserving, and we got a pretty good week ahead of us here. I think there's going to be some close matchups.
Absolutely, and we were just speaking before the show. As a 2-time defending champ, this is the first time in 3 years. Actually, this is your first because you played
ever
in the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
This is your first time ever not playing in an OKPA week.
Yeah, and just to cap it off, it was my old man who got me out of this. So, and I was really looking forward to playing Mike, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen this year, guys. But you know what? It's not in the cards. That's how it rolls sometimes. But I'm excited still.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to stay in the AFC division. We're going to talk about Michael versus Papa Hoag. What are your thoughts on this one, Commish?
Oh, it's going to be close. You stole some of my thunder earlier today when you were talking about the previous matchups. And in Week 9, we had a close game between the 2 top teams, I think, in not only their division but the entire league with a score of 158 to 150. And that was I can remember that week. It was a fun week to watch. And I think it's going to be even more fun this week because if you look at the players, and if you know the way I play, I love playing players that play during primetime games.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much have an entire week of primetime games. Hey, I'm getting a phone call at work right now, Chad. Just keep talking a little bit. I'll be right back.
Got it. Jeez, unprofessional by the commission.
Very unprofessional.
I wish I could say it was surprising,
But I guess to snowball off what he was saying, though, we are definitely in for a treat this week. We have the Thursday night game. We have a few Saturday primetime games, the Sunday games, and the Monday night football games.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, some of them are some really good matchups. They are going to be fun to watch with those games. And kind of piggybacking off what Brandon said, that matchup earlier in the year, these two, we are lucky that Tim beat Brandon in Week 13, so that these two got to play now instead of in the finals. One of them's got to lose now and not in the finals, because Tim would have been flipped over to the NFC had Brandon pulled out a win there in Week 13.
Yep, I'm back, guys. By the way, I just turned my phone off. But yeah, like I was saying, we got Saturday games, we got Thursday games, we got all the primetime original games. But I'll tell you what, Mike's biggest threat is this week. It's his it's the teams that his players are playing. If you look down his squad, you got Chris Carson playing Washington, and their defense is absolutely destroying lately.
Yep.
You have Tyreek Hill playing the Saints. You got Kyler Kyler Murray playing Philly again, which just dominated last week.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look across his board, it's all red. He's got a tough schedule. So I think that's something to monitor.
Kyler and Kenyon Drake playing Philly.
Right. Yep. And like we were talking about earlier, you see Taysom Hill playing Kansas City. And some people might be afraid to start Taysom Hill because of that. But I'll tell you what, they're probably going to be down all game to Kansas City. He's going to have some opportunities to make some plays as an athlete that he is. So look for him to score a lot of points this week.
Yeah, I think that New Orleans, Kansas City will definitely be a shootout. So I want every share I can possibly get of that. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any of them.
But you see Adrian Peterson. That's the whole on I sit when I peace team right now. That's at this point of the year, there's not really anyone on the waiver wire to replace him. And if you're looking at his bench, he doesn't really have anything to fill that gap. So that's going to be a hit on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I got to pick one, if we're at this point, if I got to pick one to win this game, I just don't see anyone beating Morgan's team right now, guys. It's looking his team is stacked. That
It sucks
Gesicki
to say
injury,
that, doesn't it? It really does suck.
Yeah, that Gesicki injury. That's the only thing that is taken away from his squad's full potential. Yeah, but I think Morgan wins this one.
Chad, what are you thinking?
Man, it's hard to disagree with that. That AP, you got DeAndre Swift back fully. I'm still worried about this Devontae Parker injury. I mean, if he has got to play Justin Jefferson in that slot and put somebody off his bench in the flex, or whoever he picks, if he gets a good waiver, I don't know if there's a good enough waiver to help him replace Devontae Parker there. That's going to be tough. I got to give this one to Morgan, even though I don't want to.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying I do agree with you guys. I'm going to take Morgan in this one as well. The big thing that stands out to me here, actually, that I don't think we've touched on enough is, I mean, the guy that could definitely flip the script for Papa Hogue, Dalvin Cook, is playing a very good run defense in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one guy that could easily, I mean, basically run away. Could win this game on his own, basically. Has a tough matchup this week.
Yeah, that's a good eye there. And same with Jefferson. He's going to be in that same game, which is tough.
So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and update the bracket here.
Yeah, if Devontae Parker, just looking at it now, if he doesn't play, Travis Fulgham has helped him out tremendously this year, I think, earlier in the season. But if you look at his last 4 or 5 weeks, he hasn't scored over 3 points.
Yeah,
and you look at week
8.
13, Jalen Hurts is back, and he did pretty damn well. Travis Fulgham had 0. I don't know if he got injured. I think he was playing, but he had 0. He had 2 targets, 0 points last week. So that's not really a good replacement for Devontae Parker.
That was actually 2 weeks ago. He didn't have a target this past week against New Orleans.
Yep. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
0 points. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I think we're all in agreement there on the AFC side. Going to the NFC, as we've mentioned as we were running through here, Chad and I are going to play against each other here for the NFC Championship game. We're going to plead our case as to why we believe we will win this week. And then the commission is going to make the decision at the end as to who he thinks will win the NFC Championship. Chad, you want to go first? You want me to?
I'll go first. I'm the away team. So I'm looking at my team here, and I have a few items in the waiver line that I think could really improve my movement. But I also do have DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen, who are very easily could go for 25, 30-point days, which Keenan Allen getting a lot of targets, and DeAndre Hopkins against Philly. Jalen Hurts is playing well. They're going to have to keep up and score. That's going to be tough to beat there if I'm Andrew Redden. And then I got the GOAT at quarterback right now, and Aaron Rodgers. This guy could throw for 4 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, and they ain't all got to be to Devontae Adams. Don't be afraid to dump it to Aaron Jones. Give my man MVS a little bit of love there too. So it could be a little bit of the Aaron Rodgers, D-Hop, Keenan Allen show, showing you guys that, hey, going wide receiver early gives you a damn chance in this league. That's what I got to say.
All right, man. Hard to follow that up. I'll start off by pleading my case by actually talking about what will make me lose this week? And it's like we mentioned at the beginning of the show. I have Melvin Gordon, who's questionable with a shoulder, and we'll have to see how if Christian McCaffrey plays this week, because that'll obviously limit Mike Davis considerably. But I don't think Christian McCaffrey's going to play this week. If I'm Carolina, I'm not spending using my, tens of $1 million guy when you're 3-9 or whatever they are right now. Christian McCaffrey's not playing the rest of the year. Mike Davis is taking the helm. He's facing Green Bay, who's really not that good against the run. I see Mike Davis having a big week. He's going to lift me to the finals. Chris Godwin, I won with him just scoring 5 points this past week. He's facing an atrocious Atlanta pass defense. Might as well mark him down for 20. Devontae Adams, yeah, your quarterback's going to be thrown to him all night long. You know it as well as I do. And Josh Allen, he struggled early against a very good Pittsburgh defense and still salvaged almost 20 points. He has, in the past 5 games, 3 30-point games. Well, he's going to have 4 30-point games in the last 6 after this week. So, Kamish, that leaves you with a lot to think about.
Yeah.
What do you,
Yeah,
what are your
I'm looking at
takeaways?
this too, and even during this conversation, looking a little bit better for the Scrubs team because Mike Davis's projections went from 5 to 16.15, meaning one thing, and I was looking at it before we got on this Zoom. Chris McCaffrey ain't playing. You said it right. They're not going to risk it. He's doubtful already. So yeah, you might as well fill him in to your. There you go, scratching it off. Because he's going to be. He looked good last week. He didn't look great. I mean, he didn't have a great week. Let me look back and see. Actually, I don't know what I'm talking
The
about.
2
He must have
touchdowns
had a
salvaged
great.
him. The 2
He
touchdowns.
must have
He
had
was
a
he was
great.
very touchdown dependent.
Yeah.
Well, he had a great second half because I don't think he had that many points in the first half.
No, I think
But,
both of his touchdowns came in the second half.
Yeah, nonetheless, that Chad, you better be praying for the next couple of days because
It's an uphill battle.
last week I had to watch Patrick Mahomes. It kind of struggled, but every time he had a good play, it was to Travis Kelce, and unfortunately, he was I was playing against him, and that's the same thing you're going to see every time Aaron Rodgers slings it to the end zone. You better be puckering your butt cheeks because it's probably Devontae Adams on the other end.
Yeah. Hey, here's the only thing I got to say is Josh Allen has had a cold spell before this year. He's played way too many games really well in a row. It's got to cool off starting Saturday in Denver.
Yeah, as long as none of the Denver players decide to dance in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, he said he was pretty pissed about Juju dancing, and it looks like the game's at Denver, so we might not have that issue. But just looking here, you see Keenan Allen questionable, but it looks like he's going to play. I think that's the only Thursday player we have between the four teams. So all eyes on Keenan Allen. And a couple weeks ago, I can't believe it still. He had 19 targets. I think that might be the highest I've ever seen. So him and Justin Herbert are in sync there. But the real question mark is your running backs. Latavius Murray, you got starting right now, and I know there's a lot of time between now and then to see who you're going to play there. But Jeff Wilson, I've heard a lot of good things about him today. Just watching ESPN here, they're liking him. And Mostert, however you say his name, he might not even be playing. He not only has a concussion, maybe, but he had an MRI for his ankle or knee or something, so he might not be playing either. So that's a good play there. So there's a lot to look at here, but if we're at that point where we're picking a team, I think Scrubs is taking this one. I'm sorry about that, Chad, but I think he just has too many. He might have the best team in the league right now. Looking at him and Mike's, it's pretty close. So I don't know, Chad. God bless you, but hopefully it's a good match. I don't know if it's going to be, though. It's the running backs. That's the big thing. And then TJ Hawkinson, I don't know if you guys talked about him, but he's looking great too. He's taken a lot of targets there in Detroit.
Here's all I can say. I do have the very last say in this matchup, no matter what. Even though Ebron can't catch, he might be able to catch enough.
Well, he's getting the target certainly, but You seen what they did to Deontay Johnson? They benched his ass when he was dropping it. So you better hope that Eric Ebro doesn't start the game with a drop on Monday night against the great Cincinnati Bengals.
You know Pittsburgh ain't gonna try and run the ball. Don't matter if they're up 30 or not.
That is true. James Conner's a bum. He's a free agent next year, guys. So go ahead and take him up first round.
No, thanks, buddy. So some big predictions there from all three of us. I mean, just talking about it here is just getting me very, very exciting. I think we're going to have two matchups here that they're going to go down to the Monday night game. And and who knows what'll happen. Definitely a lot to look forward to. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we close down the show?
I'm good. I will kick it over to the commish, see if he's got any last words for us.
Nope. Good luck to the 4 teams remaining. I'll be rooting for all of you. I'm not going to endorse anybody at this time, and probably not for the rest of the league or for the rest of the year here. But good luck to all of you, and we'll see who gets that name on the plaque on January 16th.
All right, OKPA community, there you have it. The Week 15 OKPA Fantasy Football Playoff Prediction Show. Looks like we have Michael and myself moving on to face off in the championship next week. But there's a lot of football to play in the meantime. We're all looking forward to it. Until next week, I'm Andrew Redden with my co-host Chad Zarat and our special guest, our commissioner Brandon Hogue. We'll see you then.